I never thought a simple vacation could turn my entire world upside down. It started when my wife, Lisa, casually mentioned she was going on a week-long trip with her ex-boyfriend, Brian. "Don't worry," she said with that familiar smile, the one I used to trust without question. I nodded, forced a smile, and replied once, "Okay, have fun." Little did I know, those words would mark the beginning of a nightmare I wasn't prepared for. We had been married for 8 years. I always believed our relationship was built on trust and honesty. We had ups and downs like any couple, sure, but I thought we had reached a level of understanding where secrets didn't exist. Brian was her college boyfriend, a man she said she had left behind emotionally years ago. He was charming, carefree, and dangerously magnetic, the kind of person who could make anyone feel alive. I trusted Lisa, yet a small voice in my head whispered that this wasn't normal. Still, I convinced myself it was just me overthinking. The night before her trip, she packed her bags meticulously, double-checking every item, and laughing at her own excitement. I watched quietly from the living room, pretending to be distracted by the TV, while my mind spun scenarios I didn't want to admit. Something felt off. Not a fact, just a feeling, an intuition that comes from years of shared life. I went to bed that night with a hollow sense of unease, telling myself, she wouldn't hurt me. She loves me. The morning she left, she kissed me quickly, whispered the same "don't worry" line, and stepped out. I watched the taxi disappear down the street. That was when my phone buzzed. A simple notification from a number I didn't recognize. I ignored it. Then another. And another. By the time I checked, my phone was exploding with messages, calls, and notifications from multiple unknown numbers. My hands shook as I scrolled through texts that made my heart drop into my stomach. Photos, videos, and screenshots. Evidence of Lisa and Brian together, closer than I had ever imagined. At that moment, the world I had trusted crumbled around me, piece by piece, and I realized this vacation wasn't about sightseeing or nostalgia. It was a betrayal, meticulously planned, unfolding in real time. I couldn't move at first. My mind raced, trying to rationalize what I was seeing. Maybe it was a joke. Maybe someone was messing with me. But as I scrolled further, the evidence became impossible to deny. There were photos of them at a beachside cafe, laughing together, holding hands, videos of them dancing at a local club, screenshots of flirtatious messages between the two. My stomach turned, my chest tightened, and my fingers hovered over the phone, unsure whether to confront her immediately or try to gather more proof. I thought back to every detail of our relationship, every small sign I might have ignored, the late-night texts she would hide from me, the little white lies she brushed off with laughter, the sudden desire to catch up with an old friend. I had convinced myself it was innocent, that I was overthinking. Now, staring at the undeniable truth, I realized how blind I had been. By midday, I decided to call her. My phone rang and rang, but it went straight to voicemail. I left a calm, controlled message, though inside I was a storm. "Lisa, I know what's going on. Call me immediately." Silence. Hours passed. I tried texting, emailing, even messaging Brian directly. No response. Each moment without a reply felt heavier than the last, like a weight pressing down on me. Then the calls started. Friends, family, even her colleagues. Everyone was reaching out, some to warn me, some to console, some to confirm what I already knew. Every notification made me flinch. I realized the scope of this betrayal wasn't just emotional. It had become public in ways I couldn't control. By evening, I forced myself to sit down and think. I couldn't let anger or shock dictate my actions. I needed clarity, a plan. The Lisa I had loved wasn't the same Lisa I was seeing now. The woman who had once promised forever had turned secrecy and manipulation into a game. And yet, despite my pain, a part of me wanted answers. Why? How could someone I trusted so deeply risk everything we had built? What had driven her to willingly destroy the life we shared? I felt like I was standing at the edge of a cliff, staring into a void of betrayal and uncertainty. The week she had spent away wasn't just a vacation, it was a turning point. And as I sat there, phone in hand, I realized that nothing in my life would ever feel the same again. That night, I decided to wait for her return. I needed to see her, to confront her face to face, though part of me feared the words that would come out of her mouth. When Lisa finally walked through the door, her smile was the same as always, but her eyes betrayed nothing. I stood silently, phone in hand, the evidence displayed like a mirror between us. She noticed immediately. "Why are you staring at me like that?" she asked, her voice a mixture of defensiveness and feigned innocence. I didn't answer right away. Instead, I showed her the photos, the videos, the messages. All the proof she thought she could hide. Her face went pale, then flickered with anger, then shame. She opened her mouth, but no words came. I just wanted to see him as a friend," she finally stammered. A weak excuse for a betrayal that had shaken me to my core. But I knew better. I had spent hours piecing together the timeline, reading the hidden nuances in their messages, and understanding every subtle interaction captured on camera. This wasn't just a friendly reunion. It was deliberate, emotional, and calculated. I took a deep breath, trying to calm the storm inside me. "Lisa, I trusted you. You were my wife, my partner, the person I believed would never hurt me intentionally. And yet you risked everything for this." I let the sentence hang in the air, heavy with disappointment and anger. She looked away, unable to meet my gaze. The silence that followed was louder than any argument we could have had. In that moment, I realized something crucial. I couldn't fix this, not with words, not with reasoning. Trust, once broken, is nearly impossible to repair. I had a choice, to forgive, or to walk away. And for the first time in years, I felt clarity. I turned off my phone, took one last look at her, and walked to the bedroom, packing my essentials. I didn't need an argument or a fight. The evidence had spoken for itself. By the time she realized what I was doing, I was gone, leaving behind the life we had built, and the betrayal that destroyed it. As I stepped out into the night, I felt a mixture of relief, sadness, and resolve. Betrayal cuts deep, but it also teaches hard lessons. And this was mine. Never ignore the signs, never compromise your self-respect, and always remember, some vacations are meant to reveal the truth, not just memories.